Well, it says I'm live, so here I am. Maybe I am, maybe I ain't. I don't know. Are we really here?
Hey, you just popped that. You're live.
I don't know, but I've been told. Never mind. I might love to do a lot of those, but I'd have to get some to remind me of some of them and learn a lot of the other ones. And, well, it'd no longer be a family friendly channel. After that, they might take me down. But it reminds me of good times, especially in boot camp out in runs. DIs call them cadence or singing cadence. If Marine Corps had been like boot camp all along, shoot, I'd probably still be there. Just saying. Been a 30 or 40-year man. I could be retiring right now with great pension and great bennies. Go to any PX on any base, anytime, just because I wanted to. But I didn't. It wasn't, so I didn't. There's a lot to it. My body was failing me physically, and I knew it and didn't know why. And so, like the old saying goes, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If not, it never was. So I let it go.
Hello to everybody that's watching. I see we got 4 watching.
So,
there's Melinda.
Melinda. Hope I didn't hurt your ears with that. Well, folks, I want to address something I was watching the other day. I ain't going to say who and everything about it. Of course, I couldn't really tell which way they were going with it. But one, I'll say this. Do not let your past affect how you view everything. You know, especially like, women suffering abuse from men. I got news for you. There's men that suffer abuse from women out there too. Do not judge every man. Do not judge every situation that somebody's been through based off of just what you read. Because what you read ain't going to be the whole story. Mama Bear!
Hey, Mama Bear!
And even though somebody may have something bad and dark in their history, it doesn't mean that it's what you think it is based off of what you read.
Hey, Alvin!
Alvin!
Simon,
Because people, there's folks out there that are manipulators, narcissist type people. They will create a situation, cause you to react, and then you become the bad guy, while the manipulator who caused the situation gets to get off scot-free and go do it to somebody else. That said, I personally have been through bad things with four women. They all of them used me. They were all narcissists. They were all bad elements. But I'm the one that suffered the price for their manipulations. I am somebody that could be like a lot of women and look at all the women, a lot of women look at all the men as all men are bad. Well, I can look at all women as all women are bad and they ain't good but for one thing. Because of what I've been through because of women. I don't. I don't blame all of womankind for the actions of the bad apples that I came across. It don't work that way. Not if you're of a right mind. So if you look at everything through a lens of, well, all men are bad because I went through this. No, they ain't. And there are some women that will cause a situation and then claim that they were the victim. Like a lot of what you see out in politics today, people go out and do stuff that's wrong and then claim victimhood. There's a lot of manipulative women out there who will do the same thing. So, this land, who does it belong to? It belongs to the American citizen. Yeah. The forefathers started the nation. And then later on, politicians decided they wanted more land and they took it from the Indians. Well, that was war. They wanted to expand. That is the nature of war. Wanting to expand and all like that is the nature of war. Resources, expandability, especially if it's in your nation's best interest. Now, the Indians, they suffered a lot. I don't agree with how they were done. But they bounced back and became a part of the American dream. And there's a lot of them out there richer than a lot of white folk because they learned how to work it. Mama bear narcissists can't see their wrongdoing. They're missing something up here. And it's really a facet of criminality. And criminals lack certain parts of their brain, not in actual brain matter, Josie!
Hey, Josie!
But in morality. They're as bad as any apist. I think y'all can extrapolate what I'm saying. They're as bad as anybody else. Psychopaths. It is a psychosis of the psychology of their psyche. Or it's a demon thing. Got demons whispering in their ear, and they think they're all right. Well, thank you, Josie. So anyway, America expanded in the interest of needing more space and resources. It is the natural thing for the human race to expand. Well, if you go into a place and you want to expand there and there's somebody there, well, you got to duke it out. Who's going to win? Now, unlike wars in history past, we didn't enslave the Indian people. Bad enough until they got to going. But they weren't enslaved. somewhere in some places. But the slavery thing, every race has owned every race all throughout history.
Native Americans used to own people.
Native Americans used to own slaves. When they would war against each other, tribe against tribe, who they didn't end, they enslaved. Hey, do the work. That has been a thing throughout history. Every race out there has been enslaved by another race at one time or another all throughout history. So America expanded. The Indians eventually came back up. They own a lot of casinos out there, making money, providing jobs for their people. So they ain't saying sour grapes. They came up. They didn't let themselves be beat down. They figured out another way. So they're enjoying the American dream just as much as anybody else. They found a place to get in where they fit in. So they lost wars against America for the land they had. They eventually turned it around, figured out a different way, got in where they fit in. Ooh, I hate bad weather storms.
Me too.
On the narcissist, I was talking about not letting your views be seen through the lens of something bad in your past, like being a woman and having been abused by a man in your past. Don't view all men as bad. View the reality of what's going on. You came across a bad apple. Doesn't mean the rest of the tree is rotten. Because women abuse men too. I know because I've been the victim of 4 of them. Women don't abuse the same way men do. They abuse in psychological and emotional ways. But I don't see all women as bad. If I wanted to be like a woman who sees all men as bad because they suffered abuse, well then I've got it 4 times over. Under that logic, I am entitled to looking at all women as good for nothing but one thing. Bowling ball, you know what I'm saying? It's got 3 holes. But I don't, because not all women are bad.
Hi, Katie. Welcome in.
Katie! So when you start viewing everything through the lens of what happened to you in your past, you'll start seeing everything wrong. You won't be basing it off facts, logic, or rationale. It will seem good to you what you're saying and thinking about issues, but they'll be wrong. It's kind of like Dennis Prager said, does it feel good or does it do good? Oftentimes what makes you feel good to do does not do good. Yeah, it's like medicine. You get sick, there's a cure. The cure is so horrible tasting or painful to take that you consider whether or not to try to ride it out instead of go through getting the cure. Because the cure can be that horribly tasting or painful. But if you don't, that illness could very well progress and wipe you out 6 feet under. So you wind up taking the cure. Well, the cure isn't so easy with people's views when they're based off of illogical things and ways. I'm not saying all men are bad because I suffered abuse by a man. I was badly bullied growing up by blood. I could have messed up views on things because of that. But I don't. I view it through the lens of that's what God had me put through in order to make me who I am today. You look at facts, you gather all the facts, you look at all the different angles and perspectives before coming up with a judgment, opinion on whatever it is you're pondering. So, I just lost one. Oops. So, was it bad for the Indians what they went through after the United States conquered them? Yeah. Do I agree with it? No. But it is what it is. That's what happened in that day. Most Indians don't say sour grapes. They found where they got in where they found they could get in. And are reaping the benefits of working hard and going for the American dream. They assimilated. Others don't want to assimilate. They think that because we exist and this nation is so rich, they can just come and take whatever they want. And by doing so, they literally make the American citizen a slave again. Ayn Rand talked about mochers, looters, and producers in her book, Atlas Shrugged. Well, she'd be spinning in her grave if she found out now that the looters not only loot, they're also the moochers. See, moochers ask looters to take from producers to give to them so they don't have to work. Well, that's the very definition of a politician right there. Because they mooch and they loot. They're looting the American taxpayer for taxes, and more of them. Oh, by the way, I saw a thing where Chuck Schumer said that when they get back in power, they're going to reverse everything Doge and other things have done to get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse. That tells you right there what the Democrats want for America. Enslavement. One person shared a short of a woman who was squatted down and moving around and talking about taxes. And from what she figured out, you spend the first 106 days of the year working for free in order to pay taxes. Between federal tax, state tax, gas tax, car tax, food tax, this tax, that tax, death tax. You spend 106 days working for free to pay the taxes for that year. So you're not really making whatever your net salary is each year. You're making what? Less than 2/3 because of taxes. Well, about 2/3. No, just over 2/3.
You take roughly 33 to 35% on taxes, so it's a little less than 2/3.
Yeah. So by the time you get done paying taxes for everything you have to get, property tax on whatever you buy, tax when you die. So anyway, but that's what the Democrats want for the American people, and Mom Donnie is wanting them to pay even more. Lynn,
Hey, Lynn, welcome in.
the Okie Okie. That would be funny, Katie. But that's all getting worked on. See, it's a Democrat stronghold there in Minneapolis. That's why fraudster Tim Walz, tampon boy, has been fighting so hard to make that little area grow. And Canada's going to eventually wind up having to tell China to chuck it, because we get Greenland, Canada will be landlocked by America. China have an awful hard time trying to come in. So would Russia, because we got Alaska, and then now we'll have Greenland. I think Trump's doing the right thing by doing that. Denmark can't do nothing for the people of Greenland except put them on a very low welfare. So they basically in poverty. Maybe worse off than poverty. That's a bad place to be in poverty in. You talk about a hardy people that live there. They'd have to be very hardy to live there the way they have to live. They want America to come in. They know that's going to mean a very big boost to their economy and their way of life. So for America and Greenland and the people of Greenland, it's a great deal. Democrats don't want it because that means their communist masters won't be able to have easy access to the United States. That's why they didn't like Trump doing what he did to Maduro, Venezuela, because they were supplying our enemies, letting them have a foothold in our hemisphere, giving them easier access to surround us, make it easier for them to conquer us. So there's been bad things happening in the past in the way America attained this land. But of course now Louisiana Purchase, the purchase of Alaska,
Seward's folly.
you know, there was money or goods and whatnot exchanged hands to gain those properties. Were there Indians living there? Sure. But other countries had claim to those portions of land. Russia owned Alaska, probably been kicking themselves in the butt ever since once oil was discovered there. Louisiana Purchase, that was owned by another country. Indians may have lived there, but another country laid claim to it and ownership to it. Oh, I saw one on that. Somebody pulled a Twitter of hers out, and, where she's saying all white men should be in chains because they would never submit to Islam. And shows right there, she ain't about the American people. I know a lot of blacks that would never submit to Islam either, so that means she would want them in chains too. While all these Democrats call us racist and Nazis and all like that, that's just further proof that they are what they claim we are, pointing the finger at us for that. Right? So Democrats can call us racist, Nazis, whatever, all they want to, but the proof's in the pudding. They're the ones that want us in chains. They're the ones that want us enslaved. They are the party of the KKK, the party of Jim Crow. Right, I agree, Katie. And all that. So, this land legally belongs to the American people, the American citizen. Not everybody else who think they can come in and just take what they want because they want it. People in hell want a drop of water too. That's right, man. And it's legally owned. In Texas, they're doing something to ban areas that are trying to go fully Islamic, and to ban Islamists who think they can don uniforms and say they're helping out. They ain't helping out. They're trying to make it an Islamic state. That's why Islam is not a religion. It is a political system. Their goal is to dominate the world. And if you don't agree with them, you go the way of the dodo. Or get made to pay a tax that's so hefty that you can't eat and survive. You'll soon be gone the way of the dodo. Either way you go. So Islam, as far as I'm concerned, is not welcome here. It is a political ideology that is trying to take over our Constitution. So do not look at issues through the lens of whatever trauma you have suffered in the past. Look at it with facts, logic, and rationale. Because if you look at it in any other way, you're making an unrighteous judgment. We can make judgments as long as they're righteous. How do you make a righteous judgment? You get all the facts and perspectives and look at it logically and rationally. Then make a determination. Lynn, I didn't even catch that misspelling, which goes to prove a little thing I've seen several times. As long as the first letter or last letter is in the right place, you can usually read the word and never notice that it was misspelled. So anyway, I was listening to somebody whom I think a lot of, but I couldn't tell which way that person was going with what they were saying, and I think it was going a wrong way. And it was because that person suffered a trauma in the past and is looking at things through the wrong lens. Damn! What up? So anyway, there's that. As she mentioned last night, we may or may not wind up getting one of those little kitchen islands. Just depends on how some things go. She did see a product yesterday that she showed me that by comparison doesn't really cost all that much. It's a set of choppers. She showed them to me. Told me about them. Told me around about what they cost. And I told her, okay, well, whatever you decide. So, sometime in the next few months, y'all might hear about me having some choppers. Bottom and top. And if I do, then I'll be able to eat some things I haven't been able to eat here lately. Because I'll be able to go chomp, 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 chomp. Sorry, not sorry. That's exactly right, Katie. Be and do you. Yeah, Dale, unfortunately, not this kind.
No.
Not that I could get one of those anyhow. I wouldn't be able to ride it. I don't have the strength in my body to hold one up. And going 50, 60, 70 miles an hour might be too much on my neck. And then it would be game over.
Yeah.
Because the wind pressure might snap my neck and then I'd be dead and the motorcycle and me would be going off somewhere until it finally stops. It'd just be a bad situation. But anyway, there's a possibility in the next few months I'll be getting me some choppers that might actually work. Aspen Dental done me real bad on that top plate. See, they went in to see about getting something done about an abscess. Came out, get set up for dentures for top plate. The problem is they scanned my mouth that same day with the abscess. So the plate that came out was designed to fit a mouth that had that swell in it. By the time they started fitting me with them, that swell was gone. So the teeth on the plate didn't match up to my bottom teeth. And, the result was kind of like trying to use a pair of loose scissors. Everything just kind of folded over. Oh, cool. Glad you like it. She made your chili recipe again, but she spiced it up some.
Yeah, she said last night that she had made it and tweaked it a little.
Yeah. That's good to know. Hope you talk about it. Put it out there. Get people to come look at that video. Get that recipe. Well, it's time for a sip of coffee, folks. Let y'all look at my piggus pedals up there. I need to try some of these new AI things that can do better. See what I can work up. I talk about it, but I probably won't never do it. I'm like that. I'll talk about a thing and then never do it. So kind of like the joke some make. Honey, will you do this? 6 months later, he gets around to it. No, I don't think that was an emperor one. I think that was a centurion. That was my goal anyway. It was more of a centurion type thing. Dale, all of us men are bad about that.
They had a chili luncheon today, and it was yummy. I bet it was.
And sometimes it's, honey, I need you to do this. Do this for me. Make that for me. 6 months later. Honey, I need you to do this. The same this she talked about 6 months before. 6 months later, he sees her doing it herself, or trying to. I'll tell you, ladies, the best way to get your man to start getting on whatever it is you want done is to start doing it yourself. Because that's going to make him feel guilty that he's forced you to do it when she asked him to do it and he didn't do it, and when she's sitting there struggling trying to do it, he's going to feel bad because he forced her into it, and then he's going to start getting in there to get it done. Well, you be silly, Katie. Be and do you. That's what I tell anybody. You kind of do a lot yourself, don't you, Lynn? Take you as the time as, I need that done. Get going on it.
Piggy gets irritated with me because I'll ask him to help me with something, and then I don't give him the opportunity to help because
she'll ask me to do something. I'll come over and start trying to help her with it, and she'll keep me blocked out of the way so that I can't help.
Because I'm so used to having done it myself for so long that.
So I stopped trying to help.
Yeah. That's my fault right there.
Or if I do, I tell her, well, if you get out the way, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about me and her, a true example of how men and women think differently. I think one way, I do something. She thinks another. I tell her, a lot of times I'll tell her how we're going to do this. She'll do the opposite anyway. Like we're in the car. We've gotten biscuits. While I'm driving, she'll hand me a biscuit. But here's the thing. I'll hold my hand out like this. She'll try to hand it to me like this instead of going up under and doing that. She'll either do this or she'll try to do this.
Yeah, I do crosswise with it somehow.
All right. That's an example of how we think different. Like those little shells we put together. I'm showing her how I need something done. She does it the opposite way. So when we attempt to put things together with each other, it's a challenge,
Yeah.
to put it mildly. But we
never,
eventually do it.
since she's never been married, one day God will bring the right one. That's the way I saw it, man. I was 40 or well, I was in my 40s when Piggy and I met, and he was my first husband. He is my first husband, my only husband.
Sadly, I couldn't say the same for me with her, but when she came along, I looked at her as God's gift to me for having had to go through all I'd been through before.
I told Piggy after him ain't gonna be no more. One and done. I was patient enough to wait for him. I got him. I don't need another one.
And Lynn, yeah, you could look at it this way too. God may not have that for you in His plans, and it might be, well, God doing it. There's no might be about it. It would be a good thing because they say there's somebody for everyone, but sometimes there might not be, or they're so far away you'd never find them no how.
Once in my family.
But they'll do what you got to do, son. There ain't no need at all to apologize for that.
I just started saying, there's some in my family that took their fair share, and everybody else's too when it comes to relationships.
That's a thing too. Bad relationships, you know, one of them will ruin the other one for anybody else because by the time they get done with that one's saying, not again. Well, you do that, man, and I pray that God brings you one along that is exactly what you need.
I got a cousin that will make Elizabeth Taylor look like she only had one fella in her life. She got Elizabeth Taylor beat.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Can't think of her, not Sharon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll all keep prayers up for you, Lynn, that God will bring you a good man.
Yes, a good, godly man.
Right. Now, as we've said before, ain't it amazing how God puts a thought out there among many of us at the same time? Now, I'm sure I'm not thinking of what you're thinking of, but it might not be too far off. I don't know. I guess I'll have to watch and find out. But when love is there, you'll work through things like mine and Elaine's thinking different.
Oh.
All right. So is that to say a boy and a girl, or
Yeah.
okay? Well, I was going to ask, that or two boys or maybe two girls or a boy and a girl. Oh, I know you're not Dale, but that kind of interested me.
It is kind of interesting the way God kind of leads one into the other, and the other into the other.
Me and Dale have done that several times.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm doing this before him, it's that God gave us kind of the same message.
All right, fat girl, get in.
Now, I've apparently covered one part of it. He's apparently going to cover another part of it or expand on something I've said. I don't know.
Well, we'll watch it.
So I got to watch him to find out.
See where that word goes.
Because it always interests me, when that happens. And Dale, I love it that you still use that one thing about you're not late your own time. People come in and say, sorry, I'm late. And no, you're not late your own time. You're here when God said for you to be here. You're here when God had for you to be here. I like hearing that. I like saying things that I've said spread. And I like the way you do it too. You've kind of made it your own. And I love that too.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about right there. Is that Piggy be talking about something?
Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about God. We don't talk about stuff. You're too busy with your life trying to do things, and Abbott's too busy with his life doing things. I'm just sitting here fiddling with my phone, So we never talk in advance, but lo and behold, here we go.
God has a way of putting things together.
He does. What I love about Dale is when that happens, a lot of times he is expounding on whatever it was I said of it and bringing out details that I wouldn't have brought out because I'm just sitting here yakking whatever gets put on my brain. It is, Dale. It really is. But, the reason for me is not to get a compliment. For me, it's like I told you about it. Yes, please use it because obviously it was something God put on my brain to get out there for other people to use. So it's not that you're imitating me, you're imitating God and expounding on what God has said. So, well, I appreciate that compliment, Dale. I can't say that of myself, but I'm no different than you. I'm just a vessel carrying, being that speaker for God to speak. Like people would thank me for a bit of wisdom or knowledge, and I'd have to tell them, if wisdom or knowledge you got from what I said, don't thank me, thank God, because I'm neither knowledgeable nor wise. Only God is. Because I'm going to spout just whatever hits my brain. And if there's knowledge and wisdom in it, that's God talking. That ain't me. I ain't that smart. Don't get me wrong. That's not being self-deprecating. I am fairly intelligent in my own right, but I ain't that intelligent.
But
Well, Dale, I'll let you have that. That just means I'm something that God put in your life to build on. That's it, Katie. Faith. We're but vessels of that faith. All right, Mama Bear, you take care. Love you, youngin. Okay, Dale, I was wondering what you meant by that. I don't know, Dale. You're all right. You're smarter than I am. You know how to deal with those electronics, fixing those tractors and whatnot else. Trust me, I've had electronics training. It's not easy. I couldn't be an electrician because we had a little bit in my courses on laddered logic. I had an easier time understanding the formulas and whatnot that we had to figure out than I did that ladder logic. I still didn't really get it, but I got a little glance of what it's like. And the formulas for figuring out the engineering part of a computer was easier for me than the ladder logic. That goes to show an example of God has us each designed to be good at something, to have an understanding of something that you don't think is a big deal, but I would. And stuff for me that I don't think is a big deal, but you would. Woo! I see, you definitely smarter than I am, at least on that. Because I came to learn a lot about computers. But I still tell people what I learned during that 2 years is, to me, was just catching up to the 21st century for me.
the tractor drives itself. It's smarter than I am.
Dang. I'd be scared of that. Because I'm sorry, but there's just some things that would come along that a computer wouldn't know how to deal with. They'd have to get a million times better before I might consider trusting it. Well, all right, Lynn, you eat supper.
Yeah, we're gonna have to eat something here soon. I'm getting hungry.
Right. Well, I can get that with the sensors and whatnot, but what happens if the sensors go bad? It's out there in the middle of something, and the sensors go bad, and it starts going all over the place. You ever seen that movie Runaway with Tom Selleck? Yeah, zap, zap. You ain't never seen that movie, you need to watch it. It's got uh, Tom Selleck and Gene Simmons in it. And of course, Gene Simmons is playing the bad guy. But if you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But if you ain't, look it up, watch it. You'll get what I'm saying. All that autonomous stuff on this stuff. Well, I'm sure it does, Dale. And you'll deal with whatever problems come along when they come up and all like that to keep that going. You got those things out there able to do some stuff by themselves while you're doing something else.
Oh, I got what you're saying. AI, artificial. It's not artificial intelligence to farmers. He said AI means something totally different to farmers.
Okay.
Artificial insemination.
Oh.
Totally different.
Duh. Should I do it this way? Yeah, that way. Duh. Okay. Yeah, she had to spell it out for me, Dale. Yeah, you gonna get a good laugh on that one for a while, ain't you? Here I am a piggy, and she had to explain that one to me. Oops. Well, I get it now. I mean, once it's explained to me, it's uh, just like when she's trying to explain a concept to me, like about a house design or something. She would say, "Yeah, do it this way and do it like that, and do this and do that." And I'm sitting there going deer in the headlights, and you're gonna have to draw that out for me. I lack the ability to comprehend abstract in that way. I have to be shown.
I can see it in my head, and he has to see it drawn out.
Well, Katie, if you were in the cattle business, you or somebody helping you out would be. I didn't know they did that anyway. There's a lot of stuff to that farming stuff. No.
They do it, I think, so that they can actually determine due dates and weight.
Well, I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's a lot to that farming stuff that no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I would not have the stomach for it. Kind of like when the animal gets in a bind and kind of having to help it out.
Move it elbow deep in the job.
That's exactly why I wouldn't be able to do it until I just don't have that kind of stomach.
That's why they have them gloves that come up to your shoulders and knees.
Yeah. Of course, now I guess if I grew up in that life, it'd be a different story. But so I sit here and think about it and everything without no actual experience, and I'm like, no. So on that one, Dale, I had to say, hats off to you. Anyway, she mentioned being hungry. I'm starting to get there. I said, I guess I'm going to call this one, and y'all think about it. Piggy loves you.